We have sweet berry farms on each 4 of the quadrants, and it won't be long until we can just turn it off because we'll have enough sweet berries as well. And now that the sweet berry farm is done and dusted, it's time to move on to the next game tick based farm, and that's of course Dripstone. What up, my roomies, and welcome back to the technical guide to Minecraft. And today we're going to be making ourselves a pointed dripstone farm. And because we've already found this back way back, I think like back in the teens of this entire technical guide, we're going to be harvesting at least 2 stacks of both pointed dripstone as well as regular dripstone. So yeah, speed mine. It looks like I've completely exhausted this dripstone cave, but not to worry. Back when we made the creeper farm, I made a pointed dripstone farm that I haven't harvested really ever. I think maybe once in order to make the lava farm, but besides that, yeah, I've never really actually used that thing. So let's go harvest that and then proceed to the build. Really love that I have another portal there. It should be right there. Oh, yep, there it is. Now, unfortunately, because I didn't really spend that much time in the creeper farm, this is probably not as big as I remember it to be, but I suppose it's fine. Just knock that down and just quickly collect the rest of this. Is that it? It felt like I should have gotten a lot more, but we'll make this work. All right, so let's get the foundation of the dripstone farm right away, and then we'll go talk about how the dripstone farm will actually work. Welcome to KiguCorp, where safety is a concern. Now, right over here, we have a basic pointed dripstone farm. And how this works is that if a dripstone block has a pointed dripstone right underneath it, if right on top of that block there's a water source, eventually this pointed dripstone will grow. So let's speed this up a little bit just so you can see it. And there you go. So as you can see, the pointed dripstone has grown, although it took a very long time. Now, of course, we don't want to wait around and harvest this ourselves. We want to automate this, and the way to automate it is actually remarkably simple. What we can do is have a setup like this, where whenever a pointed dripstone grows to the bottom, you can have the piston push the top one, and then the last 2 will fall down into presumably the collection system. How this works is that the pointed dripstone will eventually grow, and once it grows in front of the observer will notice the block change because the pointed dripstone is right in front of it. We'll activate this netherrack, which will then power this redstone, and will cause a piston to go forward, thus knocking the dripstone down. And by using this system, we could use this and take it to another level. So over here, we have an automated system that also has a collection system. And of course, the collection system, in this case, represents Ambrosia's storage center. So whenever this pointed dripstone gets to this part, it'll fall down to the slab. And the slab right here is important because pointed dripstone will not grow on the slab. And as a result, only has this pointed dripstone to grow it. We don't want the dripstone to grow on the bottom, because if it grows on the bottom, then we can't harvest it because, well, if it's on the bottom, then the piston can't push it down for the storage system to collect it. So the slab over here acts as a preventer for growing on the bottom, while also allowing the hopper minecart to go collect it. And so when this pointed dripstone gets seen by the observer, it'll go down and get collected by the storage system. Now, of course, because this is a demonstration, we didn't actually enclose this, and so a dripstone went out. But when we do build it for the Ambrosia storage system, it will be enclosed, and so will remain lossless. Now, the biggest question here is, how are we gonna move this water block? I mean, there is no water in the Nether, and having to set up that many mangrove roots in each position will just take way too long. But worry not, folks, we have a plan. In the previous episode, we talked about how mangrove roots can move using a flying piston, and to sum up, it's because of observer speed tick that's given to the sticky pistons. But this not only extends to mangrove roots, this also works on stairs. So over here, we have a setup where there are waterlogged stairs, and right behind it is a flying machine. So whenever this gets pushed forward, these two stairs will keep their waterlogged status because this observer is giving observer speed power to the sticky pistons, and when they get pushed forward, will not only keep their waterlogged status, but also the middle will also then become a full water source block. So if you were to cut this off, you could see that this is actually a water source. So if we were to activate this trigger flying machine, you can see that the waterlogged stairs gets pushed forward one and also create a water source block in the middle. And this will keep making it for all of us. Now, of course, having a manual flying machine like this is not really automated and will take a long time. But if we could do it with a manual flying machine, we could then do it with a normal flying machine. Let's see what I'm getting at here. And so we have this, a slightly modified version of it where we have the flying machine with the sticky piston attachment. And all we got to do is activate this flying machine. And you can see that the water source block gets created on the soil in the middle. And as this goes down, more and more of the water source blocks gets produced in the middle. And then when it gets to the end, it'll just simply stop thanks to the obsidian. But how will this work? Well, let's imagine then that all this soil is actually dripstone block. By having a water source block on top of the dripstone, that'll make it incredibly easy to create a water source for every single dripstone block. Now, of course, in your world, you probably won't have to create this kind of machine. We're only making it because the Nether doesn't really have a water source to speak of, but since we already did it thanks to the episode with the Nether water, we could have a dripstone farm inside the Nether. For those that want to play around with the dripstone farm, there's going to be a world download and a schematic in the description below. And with that in mind, let's head back to the technical guide world and get to it.
Quick interruption. I noticed that only 12% of you are actually subscribed to this channel. Watching this long, I must be doing something right, so if you like this video, hit that like button and please subscribe to this channel. Any support helps and these videos take a bit long to make. Thank you so much and back to the video.
I guess the only downside with all this is that because there's no light in this farm specifically, staircases over here don't illuminate like the staircases over here. And the reason why they're illuminated is due to either sodium or starlight affecting the way that the light's rendered. But I suppose that if it doesn't actually like affect anything, you know, that kind of slight imperfection, I'm just gonna like overlook it. And by overlook, I mean I'm just gonna like cry a little bit on the inside. But yes, as far as the farm works, it's already starting to work. Now, bear in mind, this farm is a very slow farm. The only reason why that we are doing a dripstone farm to begin with is to get the dripstone blocks as well as a pointed dripstone, but it's going to take a little bit. And so this is probably one of the few farms inside the Ambrosia storage center that's going to be on like 24/7. As far as the uses go for pointed dripstone, it's really not much. I mean, you can make the dripstone block, you can make a lava farm with a pointed dripstone, and you can make more dripstone with water, but besides that, it's really not many uses for it. But considering that it's also a random game tick farm, I felt as though we should cover it in the technical guide. And as with all the other farms, it's repeating the pattern of small, tall, small, tall, small, tall, and there's one in each of the four corners. As far as having one of these in your bases go, it's always good to have at least one, because pointed dripstone is a bit of a hassle to try to find, and they're very limited in quantity, as you saw when we were trying to harvest it the first time. But just having one is really good enough. And now that we've taken care of that, it's time to go take care of the next farm, and that is of course the cactus farm.